I had always believed that family came first. Growing up in Lagos, Nigeria, my parents drilled that mantra into my siblings and me. My younger sister, Adiz, was especially close to my mother. She was the baby of the family, the one who never quite learned responsibility because someone was always there to clean up her mess. I, on the other hand, was the responsible one. The one who worked extra shifts, saved every naira, and sacrificed personal dreams so my family could live comfortably. After years of hard work, I finally achieved what I considered a major milestone. I bought my first house. It wasn't a mansion, but it was a cozy two-bedroom bungalow in a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of the city. It was my safe space. The house represented independence and freedom from the constant demands of my family. For the first time, I could breathe without someone knocking on my door asking for favors. But life has a cruel way of turning victories into nightmares. When my company announced a month-long training program abroad, I was ecstatic. It was an opportunity to advance my career and prove myself at work. I made arrangements before leaving, hired a neighbor to keep an eye on the property, paid my utility bills in advance, and even gave my parents a spare key only for emergencies. The night before my flight, I had a long phone conversation with my mom. "Chika, remember to take care of yourself," she said warmly. "And don't worry about us. We'll manage." "Thanks, Mama," I replied, relieved. "I'll call whenever I can." What I didn't realize then was that my idea of managing and theirs were two very different things. The training went smoothly, and I returned to Nigeria filled with excitement. My flight landed at dawn, and I grabbed a cab straight to my house. It had been a long, exhausting trip, and all I wanted was to collapse in my own bed. But as the taxi pulled up to my street, something felt off. My driveway was full, 3 unfamiliar cars parked haphazardly, blocking the entrance. My front door, which I always kept locked and secured, was wide open. My heart pounded. I leapt out of the taxi, my suitcase forgotten on the curb. "Hello?" I shouted, rushing inside. The sight that greeted me was surreal. My living room was unrecognizable. The furniture had been rearranged. Empty takeaway containers littered the floor. My TV was on, blaring a Nollywood drama. A woman's laughter drifted from the kitchen. Then I saw her. Adiz, my sister, wearing my t-shirt, her hair in a messy bun, stirring a pot of stew like she owned the place. "Chika! You're back early," she said cheerfully, as though this was a casual visit. I froze. "Adiz, what are you doing in my house?" Before she could respond, my mother emerged from the hallway, beaming. "Ah, my daughter! Welcome home." She hugged me tightly, completely ignoring the fact that I was trembling with rage. "Mama, what is going on here? Why is Adiz in my house?" Mama glanced at Adiz and then back at me. "Chika, calm down. You've been gone for weeks. Your sister needed a place to stay, so we moved her in. It's no big deal." "No big deal?" My voice cracked. "This is my house, Mama. You had no right to move anyone in without asking me." Adiz rolled her eyes. "Relax, it's just temporary. My lease expired and, well, you weren't using the house." I stared at her in disbelief. "I wasn't using the house because I was working. That doesn't mean you can just move in like some squatter." Mama's expression hardened. "Chika, she's your sister. Family helps family. You can't expect her to sleep on the street." Something inside me snapped. "You didn't even call me. You didn't ask for my permission. You just..." I stopped mid-sentence as I noticed several black trash bags piled near the door. "What are those?" I asked, pointing. "Oh, that?" Adiz said casually. "I had to throw out some of your old things to make space for my stuff. Hope you don't mind." My vision blurred with rage. "You what?" I stormed into my bedroom only to find that half of my clothes were missing. My neatly organized space was now cluttered with Adi's dresses, shoes, and makeup scattered everywhere. The room smelled like her perfume, sickly sweet and suffocating. I stumbled back to the living room, shaking. "Get out. Both of you. Now." Mama gasped as if I had slapped her. "Chika! How dare you speak to me like that? This is not how we raised you." "Raised me to what, Mama?" I shouted. "To be a doormat? To sacrifice everything while Adiz does whatever she wants?" Adiz crossed her arms, smirking. "You're being dramatic. It's just a house." "No, Adiz. It's my house. And if you don't leave, I'll." The front door swung open, and a man in a suit stepped inside, holding a folder. "Excuse me," he said, looking confused. "Who are all these people?" We all turned to stare at him. "Who are you?" I demanded. "I'm the new owner," he said matter-of-factly. "I bought this house 2 weeks ago." For a moment, the room went silent. Even the TV seemed to hush. My knees buckled. What are you talking about?" He handed me the folder. "Here are the sale documents. The payment went through, and the previous owner finalized everything." I flipped through the papers in a daze. My signature was there, but it wasn't mine. Someone had forged it. I turned slowly toward my mother and sister. "Did either of you know about this?" Adiz's face went pale. Mama clasped her hands nervously. "Chika, listen," Mama began. "We didn't think you'd mind. The family needed money. Adiz was struggling with debt, and your father's business hasn't been doing well. Selling the house was the best solution." I couldn't breathe. "So you sold my house, behind my back, and moved Adiz in while I was gone?" Adiz burst into tears. "I didn't want to. Mama said it was the only way." The man cleared his throat uncomfortably. "Look, I don't care about your family drama. I just need everyone out by the end of the week." And just like that, he left, slamming the door behind him. I collapsed onto the couch, numb. My mind replayed the past few weeks in fragments, how Mama insisted on keeping my spare key, how Adiz conveniently lost her apartment at the exact same time I was leaving. It had all been planned. Betrayal burned in my chest like acid. "Mama," I whispered, "you ruined everything. Do you know how hard I worked for this house? Do you even care?" Tears welled in Mama's eyes, but she didn't answer. I stood up, my decision clear. "Get out. Both of you. Now." The next few days were a blur of anger and heartbreak. Adiz and Mama refused to leave voluntarily, so I had to involve the police. It was humiliating, airing our dirty laundry in front of neighbors and officers. When the eviction notice arrived, Mama screamed at me, calling me ungrateful. Adiz cried, begging me to reconsider. But I didn't waver. On the final day, as they packed their belongings, Mama hissed, "One day, you'll regret turning your back on family." I didn't respond. I simply watched as they walked out, my heart breaking but my resolve firm. After they left, I sat alone in the empty house, knowing it wasn't mine anymore. By the weekend, I handed over the keys to the new owner. Losing my house was devastating, but the deeper wound was emotional. My trust in my family was shattered. I rented a small apartment and started rebuilding my life from scratch. Slowly, painfully, I began to heal. One evening, months later, Adiz called. She sounded different, calmer, remorseful. "Chika," she said softly, "I'm sorry for everything." "Mama," she pressured me. I should have stood up to her. I swallowed hard. "Apologies don't fix what's broken, Adiz. But maybe one day, we can start over." Silence stretched between us before she whispered, "I hope so." Sometimes, the deepest wounds come not from strangers, but from the people we love most. I learned that love doesn't mean blind sacrifice. Boundaries are essential, even with family. And though I lost my house, I gained something far more valuable, the strength to stand up for myself and rebuild my future, one brick at a time.